Good evening from New York. My name is Patricia Angelin. I am at Alba Technique, and you are at All the Feels. Last week, I found myself feeling very low and realized that I had been in low-level depression for quite a time, but functional, so it was good. And certainly no one would have known that I was depressed, which I think is also good, for me anyway. And so what lifted me out of this feeling and reality of some clinical depression was a trip to the Metropolitan Museum of Art with my student and friend and colleague, Josephus Magnus, who is currently in the New Yorker in this October 18th newsstand because of his work with classical Greek and his long and deep embodiment of the great story of Western civilization, or one of them certainly, the Odyssey. And we went to the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York. And what I found was that I was lifted up internally, psychologically, and of course that has wonderful physical after effects as well. So I decided to institute a going and looking at great art for the next 3 weeks. So tomorrow I'm going to go to the Metropolitan Museum of Art again in order to do some research for a lecture I'm doing on restoration comedy, English restoration comedy for my colleague Ron Burton in Oklahoma, University of Oklahoma, or City University of Oklahoma, I can't remember, so excuse me for that. And it's for a period styles class for the senior acting students there. And I wanted to find images in the museum that will assist the people in their embodiment for the work that they will do in period comedy. And what brought to my mind something that the great 18th century romantic, 18th, 19th century romantic Goethe, Wolfgang Goethe said, and I'm going to show it to you. Let's see, if I turn the camera around, you'll be able to see it. There it is. One ought at least to hear a little melody every day, read a fine poem, see a good picture, and, if possible, make a few sensible remarks. Now, I don't know that I can make sensible remarks for you right now. That is the idea. But sometimes one isn't feeling quite as sensible on some days as other days. So I decided to read you a fine poem, or a piece of a fine poem, that I would often bring up when students are processing in Alba Technique, when they're processing the Alba emoting emotional effector patterns we've just worked on. And it's about human seeking, human exploration, whether it's the stars or whether it's, insects or the earth or whatever it is, it's exploration. And of course, that's what those of us who are artists, and I would like to think that even persons who are not formally actors, performers, sculptors, painters, etc., musicians, have somewhere in their heart of hearts the artistic impulse, because I do believe it is encoded in our very DNA. So I will share with you a new approach that I am making, because I have not read this poem in many, many, many years. I've only read the last little piece of it, which has applied to the emotional life in Alba emoting and the kinds of questions students ask. So that's why it's applicable to all the feels. And it is from the English poet T.S. Eliot's 4 quartets in Little Gidding, and it's stanza 5. And so that you can actually listen, I'm going to turn the camera around so that you see beautiful snapdragons and candles and a dried hydrangea. Here we are. There we are. Okay. Stanza 5. 4 quartets. What we call the beginning is often the end, and to make an end is to make a beginning. The end is where we start from, and every phrase and sentence that is right, where every word is at home, taking its place to support the others, the word neither diffident or ostentatious, an easy commerce of the old and the new, the common word exact without vulgarity, the formal word precise but not pedantic, the complete consort dancing together. Every phrase and every sentence is an end and a beginning, every poem an epitaph, and any action is a step to the block, to the fire, down the sea's throat, or to an illegible stone, and that is where we start. We die with the dying. See, they depart, and we go with them. We are born with the dead. See, they return and bring us with them. The moment of the rose and the moment of the yew tree are of equal duration. A people without history is not redeemed from time, for history is a pattern of timeless moments. So while the light fails on a winter's afternoon in a secluded chapel, history is now, and England. With the drawing of this love and the voice of this calling, we shall not cease from exploration, and the end of all our exploring will be to arrive where we started and know the place for the first time. Through the unknown, remembered gate, when the last of earth left to discover is that which was the beginning, at the source of the longest river, the voice of the hidden waterfall, and the children in the apple tree, not known, because not looked for, but heard, half heard, in the stillness between two waves of the sea. Quick now, here, now, always. A condition of complete simplicity, costing not less than everything. And all shall be well, and all shall be well, and all manner of things shall be well, when the tongues of flame are infolded into the crowned knot of fire. And the fire and the rose are one. Thank you for being with me for a part of a fine poem. At Alba Technique, I'm Patricia Angelin in New York. Send me any emotion questions you may have, and we'll answer them